Hi guys, this is ExactChaos and welcome to my Opinionated Facts, a review about Project Highrise Las Vegas. The Las Vegas DLC for Project Highrise came out about 24 hours ago and I have dropped quite a few hours into the game thus far. And I will probably drop quite a few more. It is quite a good game and the expansion makes it much better and more replayable. Okay, so I would like to share my thoughts with you. So firstly, I'll talk about the depth of the game. The game used to have a fair bit of depth with multiple streams of development, namely the apartments and the office stream, and then the requirements for all of those, the various services that you need to manage and balance. Now, I believe that has probably doubled in size since then, as now we've added the hotel stream, and along with the hotel stream, the entertainment and event stream. So now we build hotel rooms. As you can see over here, we've got tons and tons of hotel rooms. The services that are associated with it, that can range from housekeeping, room service, and a variety of others, spas, and so on. But also we have the entertainment area. So we have casinos, we have event venues such as bars and nightclubs, and we have the ability to arrange performers to come and perform at our tower. And that is a supplementary service to the hotels, because that kind of fills up your hotel rooms, pretty much like they do it in Las Vegas. Okay, so in terms of depth, there's very little repetition in the sense that yes, you build hotel rooms, but this changes so quickly from standard hotel rooms to double hotel rooms to junior suites to deluxe hotel rooms to deluxe double rooms, and you really don't get a chance to get comfortable even with the level of development that you've got to. So before you've mastered the standard suites or the standard hotel rooms, you are kind of pushed a little bit to progress into the next. You gain enough prestige, and the next level opens up, and so it's really quite good in the sense that you're always just a little bit out of your comfort zone, which is great. Lots of depth and not a lot of repetition. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the level of detail. There is real immense level of detail here. You can see, you can follow every visitor, every office worker. You can have a look, you can click on that guy or girl, my bad. Jacqueline is, well, not quite happy, but at least not feeling too bad. They've got some good stores here, so she's happy that there are good stores here. Then you can also click on the guests, and you can really see how everything you do affects them. If you add a service, if you take a service out, you see them, and you can kind of follow what they're saying. That was a nice dinner spot. Excellent. This is a gourmet restaurant, so it should be. And here we go. What's happening over here? The tenant is considering moving out. We did not turn a profit. There are too few customers, and strange smells keep coming from somewhere. Okay, so something is smelly. But also, there's not a lot of people coming here. And why? Well, because it's not en route too much. There's not a lot going on around this place. So it's clear there's a lot of detail that you have to take into account when you are playing this game. Okay, and also you now have this cool review system, which is a very TripAdvisory kind of thing, where all your guests will leave you little comments as to what was good, what wasn't good. So if we go here, well, Phyllis says the hotel restaurant serves a mediocre dinner. Good cards tables on the casino floor, some mediocre vending machines, disappointed by lack of cafes, I couldn't find a breakfast spot, okay shopping options, why no dinner options, I wanted a room with a better view than that. I wish they didn't have rooms so close to the elevators. So as you see, there are so many little elements that you can actually deal with, okay? I mean, do you put your rooms at certain heights? Do you have dinner options and cafes and so on co-located with your room so they're close by. I have all of these things, but obviously Phyllis couldn't get to them, or they weren't quite close enough. But as you can see with the elevators, if you're too close if you're too close to the elevators or the dinner spots, she'll be complaining about that, and too far away so it's very, very realistic, like real life, right? Hotels and the like can't do everything perfectly. There are always people that will be complaining. Okay, and even though I've got a good rating, there are always still people saying this or that. So in terms of detail, it's an immense amount of detail, and it really, really works well. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the statistics. Okay, so for any tycoon game, the stats is really, really important, because that's how you decide how you're going to improve your development, your game, your building, your factory, whatever kind of tycoon game you're playing. You need the information to be able to improve your efficiency. And that's probably one of the shortcomings that I think this game has. So Project Highrise Las Vegas, I think, is not necessarily presenting the information the way it should be presenting the information. There is a lot of information available in terms of a budget overview, a tenant overview. I mean, you can see all of this, right? But none of this, and even the ratings and the prestige reports, and so a lot of kind of information around what's going on. But it doesn't really tell you much in terms of how you can improve your efficiency. What I'm referring to is, I have got housekeeping over here, okay? And that's rooms. No, that's the housekeeping. So I've got housekeeping over here, and housekeeping has to come up every day and clean all the rooms that people slept in. So first thing, I need to understand what my occupancy is like. And then what I would like to understand is how many rooms they actually cleaned today or yesterday or the day before, so that I can understand how many cleaners I require, how many housekeeping kind of services I have to include. So as you can see, I've expanded quite a bit because this is room service. I have expanded my housekeeping over here because I wasn't getting through it all. But as you can see, now all of these guys are standing around. So I don't know, and I don't have the information available to me to make a call as to how many housekeepers I require or housekeeper services I require. And then the next thing is, apart from just that information, did I not finish cleaning them because they're too far away, because I only have one service elevator, or or are there some other reasons are some of the staff members less effective than others? I mean, all of these kind of elements that we don't necessarily need all that kind of detail, but there's definitely an element of that operating in the game, and we don't necessarily get that kind of information. So I would like to know how to, and the same goes for everything else, right? So there's a maintenance service that has to run around maintaining things. And do I need 2? Do I need 3? Do I need how many of those? How efficient are they? How often are they needed? Those kind of things. There's a lot of efficiencies that you can do, and that's the success of so many tycoon type games is you keep improving and replaying the game to improve that efficiency. Okay, so that's my deal with stats. You really need some more stats in this game. Well, not more stats. You just need to improve how the stats are showed to the player. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the challenge. So as we know, I mean, that's why I at least play games, is because it's a challenge. I like the challenge involved in playing the game. And I must say that is one thing that Project Highrise Las Vegas does very well. The level and variety of the challenge is very, very good. Okay? All the various streams have their own unique challenges. So let's say this was an apartment building or an office building or a hotel building like this one is, right? It's got requirements. So the room has got a requirement for housekeeping. Okay, then you move on to better rooms, and then there's a requirement for housekeeping and luggage services. Okay, and then you move on to an even better room, and now you need housekeeping, luggage services, and room service. Okay, and so on and so on and so on. And as you go, this gets more. Oh, and not only do they need services, they also need amenities. So they need dinner restaurants and breakfast places and gourmet restaurants and lunch restaurants and so on and so on. So it just keeps going. Oh, and stores. They need the stores to buy clothes and stores to buy electronics and I mean, it's immense. There's a lot there's a lot happening. There's a lot of challenges to keep everybody happy. Okay, then okay. So in addition to the multiple streams, there's the further challenges associated with co-locating various things. Okay, so now I am required by the hotel guests. They are demanding that they need both retail elements, but also a lot of restaurants and other things, nightclubs and entertainment venues and so on. But now you start with that challenge that, well, you can't necessarily put them together because as we saw with this guy over here, he's complaining about a strange smell, and I'm guessing that strange smell is coming from the cocktail bar right above him. And we have got this kind of information, so we can overlay something like that. So smells, right? So you can see clearly I've got a smell issue over here, and this guy is being affected by the smells. So I'll probably get the similar kinds of complaints over there. So you need to watch how you co-locate. Okay, so you need to watch how you co-locate those things. So let's switch that off. Okay, and then the thing that follows on to is probably one of the biggest and most interesting challenges about this game is the space planning. Okay, so co-locating leads straight into space planning. Every little element in this game is a different size. So the small room is 3 spaces, the double room is 6 spaces, then you've got the suite that is 7 spaces, I believe, and so on and so on. Then you've got small restaurants and bigger, medium restaurants and bigger restaurants, and you've got to squeeze in here some air conditioner units, and you've got to squeeze in trash bins, and you've got a shoe shiner and a broom closet, and all of these little things that you have to squeeze in. So space planning becomes such a major element of the game. You need to plan out, well, can your building actually look nice and rectangular like this? I mean, it's a big challenge to get the space planning to work to do something like that. What ultimately happens is you end up with space planning that does more this kind of environment over here, where you just needed to add one more and one more because I needed to fit in an extra garbage bin or something in there. So space planning is a real interesting part of the game, something I enjoy quite a lot, and it's a big challenge, especially as the services grow and you have to put more and more and more of them together. Some of them can only be underground, some of them can be above ground only, some of them will prefer being higher in the building and next to the elevator or further away from the elevator. There's a lot of depth in that aspect as well. Okay. Okay, and then there's the item or the aspect that you have to kind of step back and go and fix problems, because you kind of create problems as you go along. So with a standard game, what I would be doing is I've started out with a few hotel rooms over here. They needed certain services, which I provided, and then kind of I achieved a higher level of prestige. So with a higher level of prestige, I then had the ability to add some double rooms, who then needed some extra services. So I did that, and then the prestige rolled on up, and I kind of added some entertainment or event areas over here, and then I added some suites over here. And then I started moving into the restaurant environment and started building all of these. And then all of a sudden, I found out, oh no, my money has dropped because I'm not making money in these rooms anymore. Because something I did somewhere over here Oh, and there we see a tenant has left. Something I did somewhere over here, because that's one of the aspects that you should go back and fix. Like, oh, this tenant was complaining, we didn't notice it quick enough, and so they left. Okay, something that you did somewhere over here is drawing people. Is making a difference. So now I built a restaurant over here, and the smell and the noise is coming over here, so the room prices are dropping and my money is gone. So now how do you fix that? So you might be enthralled by what's going on over here. You're doing well, not research, you're upgrading, or you're doing consultant upgrades, and you're busy with hotel license management or casino licenses or something, and then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I need to go back and change the way I did things over here, otherwise I'm going to run out of money quicker than well, too quick to keep going. Okay, so that's basically that, and then the further element, and probably the biggest challenge of them all, and is a similar challenge to most management games, is you need to balance your budget. Okay, so you've got various aspects. You've got the rental income, you've got fees that has to be paid every day. So if I just have a look over here, and once again, this isn't showing me a lot, so I've got the rent revenues and operating costs, and what you can see is already, well, my rent revenues are much lower than my operating costs, and that's because I operate a hotel more so than anything else. So these rental revenues are from all of the restaurants, the casinos, those kind of things that's here every day. But the hotel rooms are seen as other revenues. They're a bit hit and miss. So one day they're all full and the next day they're not. And so I can very quickly run into trouble. When you're running an apartment building or an office building, could be a very different picture. But balancing all of that is a big challenge, because once again, as we add services to meet the demands, all of these services cost money. So this operating cost is 113 per day, and that operating cost also, and this one 400 per day, and that one 100 per day. And so as you keep adding these things up, it's a massive task of balancing the demands, what you need, and the money that you spend on it. So you don't want to over provide services because you'll run out of money, but you also don't want to provide too few services because then you'll not end up growing. So overall, I think that challenge is probably the biggest of them all, and something that I find the most exciting. Okay, the next aspect that I would like to talk about is the freedom. For me, it is important that a game has freedom. I do not want to be structured into doing this, then doing that, then stepping to there. That I find fairly boring in most cases, depending on how it's done. And this is probably one of the aspects that Project Highrise does so well. The freedom, there's two aspects to the freedom. One, you have the freedom, the freedom to choose your own goal. And there are so many options. Okay, so you can decide, well, do I want to build a 100-story building? At the moment, I cannot do that, but do you want to, is that your goal? Or is your goal to build a very prestigious hotel? Or is your goal to build an office complex that houses all the big HQs? There are many aspects. Or are you brave enough to kind of try and do them all at the same time? But so there's many things that you can try and do. Or do you just want to make money? So there are many of those kind of things that you can try and achieve. Okay, and then what you can do is then there is the ability to achieve that goal that you've set for yourself in so many different ways. You can, as we've discussed before, you can take the hotel stream or the apartment stream or a mix and match, or you can do a tall skinny tower or a big fat tower or a twin tower or a mix and match of various uses. Or the possibilities really are almost endless. Okay, then what we all come to games for is then the replayability. All of these aspects that I've talked about makes this game tremendously replayable, because you can do one thing the one time and then the other time, and all the time you're trying to be more efficient. So you are trying to improve the way you do your space planning. Do you want to end up with doing this? Do you want to get the tower to be a bit more perfect? Do you want this as a space planning model? And do you want to keep trying until you get it right? Do you want to get your co-location perfect? Do you want a certain area that's only for certain uses? And how does that affect your demands and so on? So the freedom that you have is really immense, and you can do whatever you have, and that just causes it so replayable. And so really, in my opinion, you should be prepared to lose. If you like these kind of tycoon management games, you should be prepared to lose a few days to weeks of your life on playing this. Okay, now coming to the end, I would like to discuss a few minor criticisms or even suggestions that I would have for the game. The one thing I think which is probably frustrates me the most about the game is the requirement to renovate elements. So renovate your hotel rooms or your stores or your restaurants every now and again. And once it starts, it really happens way too often. So what tends to happen is your renovations, and I can't find a spot that actually needs to be renovated right now because I've set it to auto renovate, but let's discuss it anyway. So the renovation, every second day I have to renovate a lot of these places, and I find that to be tremendously unrealistic. I mean, yes, buildings are renovated every now and again, but it's typically a few years. And even if you are thinking speed up the gameplay, it can't be every second day. It's really unrealistic. So I think that the purpose of the renovating mechanism in the game, or the need to renovate in the game, is to basically drain your cash. But I think so. It's a game balancing mechanic, or that's my thoughts at least. But I think there are much better ways, much more realistic ways of balancing your cash flow. Just make the services more expensive, or make the higher tier services more expensive, so that you can actually just something that's a bit more realistic. Yes, and yes, you can. Once you reach a certain level, you can put the renovations to automate. So you kind of renovate by yourself, and they just drain your money all the time. But to renovate, but I think that it just feels unrealistic to me. I don't quite know and understand why that is there. The next thing, which is very minor, but it kind of frustrates me, is the fact that visitors to the building only come from the one side. So while it's not a very big deal, it feels awkward to build something on the back over here. And that might be part of the challenge of the game, to try and kind of put your big attractors on this side, so that draws people all the way through the building. Yes, that might be the case, but it feels extremely awkward to me to build things here, because it feels like it's the back of the building and no one will come through this way. But yet in reality, a building like this would certainly draw people from both sides. So only these two really minor comments or criticisms from me. And in the scheme of things, I think those are very minor. I don't think it's very difficult to come up with a game that's close to perfect. But this one does very well, in my opinion. There's only minor comments that I think can be improved. One final thing as well. I think and this is not a criticism. This actually works well. The random events that come in are realistic. They are challenging. And I think they add to the game. I don't think they're a problem. Many games have a problem with random events. That's just obviously a balancing mechanism, but doesn't work well. But I think the random events work quite well. Okay, guys. So that's been my opinionated facts about Project Highrise Las Vegas. All in all, I would recommend this game. I think it's a good game to play, and I've spent many hours, and I'll spend many more hours. If you like this video and you like this review, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.